Welcome to Blind Shovel, an arts and music podcast. Today I speak with cartoonist and illustrator Baptiste Virot. Enjoy.
Baptiste Virot. Baptiste Virot. Baptiste. Virot.
What's up? So it's very late where you are, right?
Yeah, it's 11 p.m.
Is that late for you?
No, it's okay. I used to sleep late.
What time do you wake up?
Usually around 10, 11, like that.
And you just
AM?
start working immediately?
No.
No?
No, not at all. No,
Are you like
I drink
late?
coffee and yeah.
Uh-huh. And you shit probably, right?
I
Usually-
shower.
Are you laid back or are you determined to be productive?
It depends, but I'm not that a long worker type of guy. I mean,
You're not.
I try to do at least 3 hours per day, but more than that, it's complicated, I think.
You mean 3 hours of just drawing alone?
Yeah, but I don't know. I spend too much time on YouTube more and more, so
What are you
it's
doing
hard
on
to
YouTube?
focus. Watching people talking about stuff which doesn't matter. And
Oh yeah, that sounds about right.
guys building a cabin in the wood
Oh,
with no tools or stuff like that. Really, yeah.
do you want to live
Useless stuff.
in a cabin? Alone?
No, not at all. It's just yeah,
A fantasy.
fantasy. Yeah. I will be bored pretty quick, I think. But
Were you born in a rural place or a city or a suburb?
no, in a city, yeah, not that big, but I used to go in countryside, yeah, a lot in my grandparents' house.
Hmm.
So I know countryside well. So I don't really have the fantasy of countryside. You know, like a lot of people I knew during the pandemic. Now I will
Yes.
grow tomatoes in countryside. It will be so cool. But yeah, I mean, they used to grow up in big cities, so for them it's quite charming. But countryside in France, it's not always like paradise. It's there is people who live there already, who have their life. It's sometimes quite poor, so it's weird also to come from the city and arrive there and start doing your stuff and fantasize the real world like it's 18th century or something, you know.
Yeah. Do you have the fantasy of building things? Is that why those videos are?
No.
No.
No, but I build my comics and illustration. It's okay for me.
Yeah. How did you start doing that? Were you doing that from a young age?
Yeah. I basically draw since I'm really tiny. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My parents didn't. We didn't have. Sorry for my English. Yeah.
No, it's better than my French.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.
I find it hard to speak French. Very hard to learn French.
Hard to learn. Yeah. Maybe you're right. Yeah.
It's very mumbly. Like you don't say certain I don't know. The end of words confuses me a lot in French when you pronounce things and when you don't. But I gotta study.
Yes.
I gotta study more. Definitely.
Did you study a long time or?
No, in like high school, which is when you're 16-ish. But my fiance is French, so I need to learn in the next 2 years, I would say, how to speak fluent. I would think.
Cool.
She's from the south of France. You were saying you're from, I can't remember if you
East.
mentioned East.
Yeah.
Where's that?
Near Strasbourg.
Okay.
It's east of France. It's Strasbourg is like a really old medieval city
Oh, wow.
with a big cathedral, and it's not that big, but yeah.
How do you feel when you come to New York City?
Now I've been several times. I think even last year we went there like twice. I really like the lights in New York, in Manhattan, because of all the buildings reflect all the sunlight on it. It's so it makes a really dynamic light. I don't know how to say, like the reflections.
Yeah.
And it's strange because I mean, we watch a lot of movies all our life about New York, and there is so many stuff which takes place there. So we have kind of a fantasy of New York before going there. But so it was almost like I imagined, but maybe more tough than I imagined.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Brooklyn's or like the subways.
Yeah. I'm looking at the city you're from. It's very beautiful. I'm always interested in, New York isn't a beautiful place, I don't think, but it can be exciting. Those aren't the same thing. So I'm always interested in like, you come from such a beautiful place. It feels like there's no way to go up, at least from my perspective when I'm looking at it. So my fiance is like really disappointed in New Jersey, where we live.
I know.
It's like not a lot of nature. The buildings are new. The material is not stone, and so I always say when you live here, you have to like, if you want to experience beauty, you have to make it on your own, and that's like a full-time preoccupation.
Put beauty in New York, and New Jersey. It's your goal.
Yeah, beauty in my own life.
Yeah,
it's a need in some ways. It sounds cheesy, but I think I just make things to experience that mostly. And I think it's weird for me when I go to Europe because it's already there. There's already this huge history of it happening. And there's also beautiful nature. And so I often wonder, being an artist in Europe, if sometimes people feel like it already happened, like the peak of artistic creation.
I see what you mean. Like there is one thing shocked me in New York, and it was like the way all the buildings and materials. It looks quite not thick, not heavy. It's like the buildings and the walls you can hear through, and you can feel. I don't know. It's like crumbling a bit, it's like that.
Cheap. It's affordable in a sense, right? Like if you wanted to remake a European city today with modern standards of labor and material costs, it would be like impossible.
Stones and stuff.
That doesn't even seem plausible. So I'm always interested, like your art is very loud, it's which I assume has some punk influence. Would that be accurate?
I don't know. It's always funny because I feel like there is a lot of different way people see my work, and like it depends on the person.
Mhm.
They will find a different parts in my work, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, punk. Yeah, punk in a way. Like I don't care. Like in what style I'm working on and for which public it is. Like I really want to do the image the way I want to do it, and not like make it for one public specific.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to stay free on my creation always. And even if people like want to throw up when there is too much colors, or like if it's weird, or if it's too cheesy, or I don't really care. Yeah. And so maybe we can feel that in my work, but at the same time, I mean, everybody will say the same thing, you know, like no one will say, yeah, my work is really like programmed to be
Sure.
mainstream and stuff. But
I think some people might at this point be so outright honest. Like no one says I make propaganda. You know, everyone thinks their work is more divergent and nuanced.
Yeah.
But I think, to be fair, this kind of like way of making comics or images of this nature, that's the whole point, that they're more open and closed, you know. But for me, the speed and the anger of the faces and the hairdos is what evokes like a lot of album art for me.
Yeah.
And a kind of 80s fashion.
Yeah, it's not really it's not a will from me to make reference to 80s stuff and music, album cover or stuff, but it's more like in a way to shake up the viewer, you know, like they scroll on their phone, and like I want to give a small punch, you know, like because at the end it's not that frequent that you have strange pictures, or like strong colors pictures. Even if now, of course, we are quite a lot of people who use strong colors and fluorescent colors and stuff, but there is a lot of really soft illustrations we can see more and more. I don't know if it's a trend or if it was always like that, but there is really a style which develop. You can see it on Facebook for the tech companies and stuff. You know, like really.
Yeah, I know the style.
Soft style, but I at the same time I don't want to criticize that style, because I can do stuff like that also, and I cannot pretend to be better than those people, you know. But what I mean, I kind of don't care if what I make if it's too mainstream or too independent. I think there is no specific style for mainstream and no specific style for underground or punk. I want to create like an hybrid monster which can have a foot in every world, you know. And
independent comics are really good for that, because well, comics are essentially mass media, or were, but then the independent component lets you do whatever you want. And usually there's an abrasiveness to it, I have found. But at the same time, you have these interesting collaborations, like I think it said Hermes, right? I don't know how
Yeah.
to pronounce that. How does something like that happen? That just
Yeah,
happened one day?
yeah, it just happened one day, and but I mean, it's also because, for example, my girlfriend Jinian, she created the publishing house Animal Press, which I'm part of, and she really pushed me to do books, which can be like complete piece in a way. We will control the cover, the printing, the binding, and the whole object. Just not just do a comics and give it to a publisher and it will do his way to create the book. So that way we could create books we really want to make, like the way we want to do it. And Hermes people, they bought my book at a fair, a book fair.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they discover my work.
Nice.
So it's nice to see the link, like between our small publication house and then to companies like Hermes, which are in our mind far from our small publishing business and stuff. So what is great, it's we can see like which makes the connection between all that. It's the love for the drawing, and it's what interests me.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's a great life to have, great career, where you just draw what you want and then, people hire you for editorial or put it on clothing.
Yeah.
It's a unique time to make work in that sense. And whenever I'm angry at social media, I have to remember that also can happen. You can just make drawings, put them up, and then things happen,
Yeah. Social media, it's really annoying, but it's a good tool. We need to use it in our advantage, because at the same time it can really drain all our time, and we can be envious and we can be jealous on people and watch other work, and sometimes it really blocks you because you watch too many other people's stuff.
Yeah. Do you have friends that you work with? Actually outside of, the way I think about it is you could be influenced by people on social media, or you can have a small group, or both, small group of friends that you draw together every day or every week.
Not really. I think I'm more influenced by of course, things I see on internet, but not necessarily Instagram. I'm thinking more of older website like Tumblr or Flickr and stuff like that. But mainly, my main source of inspiration is when I go in second-hand bookstores, and those last year I really felt in love with vintage comics books for the youth, and it's from the 40s and 50s, and even things from the beginning of the century. And
French stuff?
Yeah, French stuff and Belgian stuff also. And first of all, the printing is really good, and the colors are amazing, and there is some really crazy cartoonists which are really not famous, and you can see they will draw like 2 stories and they will disappear. I mean, so there is a part of mystery also to find this old comic stuff, and yeah, this is I mean, those last year it was which influenced me the most.
That's interesting. I had a similar experience with, I think it was a couple French artists from like the 20s, early illustration.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, they just either die young or they make 1 or 2 books and they're pretty much irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
like,
because it's stuff you can discover and just the day before you didn't know it exists, and
yeah, and I mean, for the most part, I think humanity is pretty good at elevating the good work. You know, like someone like Mobius, there's no way he wouldn't be famous to me. It's like impossible he wouldn't be famous. The amount of work, the quality, the appeal, it's like just inevitable. But then this more nuanced work that's more simple sometimes, especially if it's made during the First War or the Second War. I mean, I feel like that stuff gets lost all the time.
Yeah.
And Tumblr was really good for that. That was the best part of Tumblr, is finding work like that. But it's all over now.
And also with the war, it was the Second World War. It was really weird because there were a lot of people who didn't draw at first. You know, they were not cartoonists. They were not really artists. But because there were a lot of people dead and a lot of people at the war, they needed to have people who draw stuff in the children magazines.
Yeah, that's true.
And there was an occupation also, so it was really a big mess, I guess. So I guess like the baker or like the butcher or the priest, I don't know, like he was called to draw comics, and even if he didn't know really well how to draw, you know. So it's really like it's a weird period. Yeah.
Yeah, you see a lot of old signage like that, where someone doesn't really know how to draw, but it could be very interesting for that reason.
Yeah, because they didn't have a career in their heads. They just drew stories to occupy the kids. So yeah.
So did you start making comics? How often are you making comics versus just a drawing, would you say? How much time is spent?
When I was kid, I used to do comics already a lot. And I guess always starting a new comics. So I have like thousands of pages, of first pages of a comics, but not the second one, you know, like.
Yeah.
I found so many like really old pages. It's just like 4 frame and like with all the energy to start a story and like it just end. There is
that's the hard
point.
part.
And yeah. So this is basically my problem. Even now, still like I start a lot of comics and I don't finish them. And yeah, sometimes it's really a big problem because, like for example, I got some money from the cultural part, and I need to finish my comics because I got the money. So I made 60 pages and I need to do like 80, something like that. But it's been 1 year. I struggle to advance, and yeah.
So how does that work? You apply for a grant and then
you send pages and a scenario and like a motivation letter.
What happens if you just don't do it?
if you don't finish it,
Yeah.
I think you need to give some part of the money back,
Okay.
and but not all. They are nice. But
Yeah, I feel like this is more common in Europe, this idea of these little grants.
Yeah.
In America, there used to be one by the guy who started the Ninja Turtles. That was like 10 years ago.
Oh, really?
For independent comic artists. But yeah, I mean, America, there's a ton of work, so it kind of offsets the problem. But this idea of getting grants, like cultural grants, at least in my experience, is not super common with comics.
Yeah. There is maybe more in art or like maybe for video.
Fine art, video, film. I feel like Europe has a different relationship to comics.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
it's more into. I think because I don't know if this is historically accurate, but at least here it was very early on, just like these pulpy things for like little boys. So I don't know if there was like this more intellectual bend until much later, but I could be just completely wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, in France, for example, comics, it was also a medium were toward the children also.
Yeah.
But it's a big market. I mean, there is a lot of comics, a lot of different comics, but yes, it's different with the US because there is you got the comics in the newspaper, like with Winsor McCay, Little Nemo, and stuff like that, and at the beginning of the century, and the spirits and stuff. But it went quicker on the superhero comics, so it became really a huge scene, a huge thing that you can call mainstream in the US. Like the Marvel, DC.
Yeah.
So in Europe, in France, it's a bit more mixed. Like the frontier is blurrer, but it's quite recent also that we have more alternative comics. It's been like 20 years, maybe 30 years. Like in the 80s, it started to have like comics about everyday life and stuff like that. Like a lot of, for example, a lot of French comics were also based on the work of Crumbs and Mad and Zap Comics.
Yeah.
And the US, so at the same time, the US, they were influenced by Metal Hurlant and Moebius and stuff. So yeah.
Do you look at that kind of work still? I assume that influenced you.
No, not so much. No, I never was a fan of Metal Hurlant and Moebius. Strangely, I used to read it when I was young. I borrowed it at the library, but I don't know. It never really interests me, like the sci-fi robot stuff.
Yeah, it's
monsters.
very specific.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you like Cowboy Hank?
Yeah. It's funny. Sometimes it's really not funny, but sometimes it's really good. It's a really weird sense of humor.
Yeah, that one-page surreal gag kind of humor.
Yeah. But it's funny because, for example, Cowboy Hank. For us, people who like alternative comics and stuff, it's like when we see Cowboy Hank, we think, it's so cool, it's so hype, it's so fresh. But when you ask people in Blender, Flavish people, for them, Cowboy Hank, it's really like the gas station comics, you know. It's like it's your daddy comics in the newspaper, in the TV newspaper, you know. So it's really weird because we made a fair with Animal Press in Antwerp, and people were really not interested in our comics because for them it was like old. It was because they had Cowboy Yank in head, like an old thing, you know.
So what is? Yeah, that's an interesting idea. What is cool?
So for them, what was new? It was like deep autobiographical comics in black and white, more sketchy, more grit. I don't know what to say. You know?
Real.
Like,
it's like a
yeah, like the 90s, 2000 comics. You know, like patchwork and like serious comics. You know, for them it was the new stuff, but so it's really depend on the point of view and stuff. And of course, there is a lot of people who tell me, you must be a fan of Cowboy Yank. Your comics look like a bit of it. But also it's Cowboy Yank. It was not comics I read. So I kind of read it after. But I mean, our brain is, of course, it takes everything all the time, and we don't know really what we suck and what we I don't know what to say.
Yeah. What we digest,
the influence, and
Is that what's his name? Anton painting there?
Where?
Behind
Where is
you,
it?
that painting.
This?
Yeah.
It's a painting I made.
You made that.
Yeah, but it's really bad.
It's more painterly.
It's acrylic painting.
Yeah. It reminds me of. Oh, okay.
But from far it looks nice, but it's.
It's funny. It reminded me of this French artist I showed at my gallery once. Yeah. I'm sure you know who he is. Marchalot.
I need to check. AMH?
Here, I'll send it to you.
Oh.
Oh, this is Ego.
Hello.
He's a good man. I'm kind of curious to know, like, how old are you?
I'm 35.
So you're not cool anymore, right?
No, it's gone.
It's like it's a great phase, you know. You're not cool. Were you were probably cool like 10 years ago.
I was cooler back then. Yeah, but I feel cooler now.
Oh yeah. Of course, I know. But
no, but
do you understand what the scene is? Because I don't.
To be cool, it's a trap. Once you're cool, you're not cool anymore.
No, but do you still understand what the cool kids are doing?
Yeah.
So you're connected because you still publish, right?
I don't know who's cool anymore.
No,
of course I watch. I follow people on Instagram and I see the new work which are made at the fairs when we do fairs. Like small publication fairs. Yeah. This is the place where you can see the tendencies. You see that?
Tendencies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know what is cool. Really, I don't really care about cool.
Yeah. It's just interesting because there's a moment where you are cool. Almost inadvertently, you're like in the inside, and then you just naturally keep making the work, and then you're just on the outside. And it's 10 years later, and I think it's a better place to be. But it's just part of a natural progression. I think it would be weird to be cool for too long.
You mean there is also the search to be cool, the search of the coolness, when you grow up, you lose kind of this goal because it's stupid,
Yeah, you're not in it as much too. Like I'm 34 and it's just, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like when an 80-year-old is still trying to be cool and sexy. It's just like, that's
weird.
There's phases to life. And it's time for the 25-year-olds making gritty, autobiographical, realist comics,
Yeah.
Your influences start to become maybe more dead people, for me, like I look at probably more dead people's work than living. But that's because I don't go to the conventions anymore, and it's not a way to make friends, I already have the friends I got from that time. And they're nice people, they're good people. So like I tried to do a convention last year and it just felt old.
Ah, really? Yeah.
Yeah, it was fine, but I felt strange.
Yeah, I see what you mean. There is a point you realize you're not in art school anymore, and you see the gap.
Yeah, I can't wait to be 45. Like, what is that?
Really?
Yeah, I just wonder what that is. What's that?
Yeah.
What that
Will
feels
be
like.
the same, but cool, less cool. With a bigger belly and less hair.
Probably. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
So, what does an average day look like for you?
I wake up around 10. Now my jet lag is gone because we were in New York last month, and it took a long time to come back to the normal schedule. So I wake up, I make coffee, I go buy some bread and eat cheese with bread and coffee and croissant.
Okay, all right.
And listening some music, and then usually at that time it's already noon, and those days we need to print because we have a lot of new books to print with Animal Press. So we go to the workroom, to the studio to print. And at the end of the day, we go to the gym, and we do. I do 30-minute jump rope. Try to do it every day to stay cooler longer. And
so when are you drawing? So far in this day,
it's a good question. You noticed there is no drawing time. So sometime. After the breakfast, I draw a little, and sometimes, I used to draw at night a lot, until sometimes 2 a.m., 3 a.m. But we were too, not even jet lagged. It was just a bad reason for living, like to go to bed really late and to wake up late. So I tend to not go to bed too late and not to work too late. So I think I don't draw enough per day, because it's always between other stuff,
I understand. Yeah. And you work on the press, Animal Press, every day?
No, not every day. Those days we need to print, so it's kind of special. But normally I don't have things for Animal Press to do. So it's I don't have a good schedule, you know, like the guys you see on YouTube who teach you to wake up
Productivity.
at 6 a.m. like Steve Jobs and
Yeah.
to have only one t-shirt and do stuff like that, drink tea and stuff. So yeah, maybe it's a dream to have a good schedule and to have a way to focus, you know, like you work 30 minutes, then you watch video of guys building a house in the wood during 30 minutes, and then you draw again.
Yeah, maybe if you schedule that in.
Yeah.
Be realistic, schedule it. No, it looks like you are productive though, in terms of.
Yeah, I'm really happy because people see me as a productive guy, so it's a success, I think, because I really am a lazy person.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, I love to work, so it's quite weird. I'm really impatient, so as you can see, this painting, I started it 4 or 5 years ago, and it's still not finished because I don't have the patience to go in front of it and like to put the tubes and to paint. I want to have the immediate effect of it. So that's why I don't do sketches for my comics. I draw directly everything. So I don't lose.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I don't lose my energy, but it also has limits because I don't know where I'm going. So, you know, for example, this morning I started this. I started the page.
Yeah.
And
no sketching, huh?
Yeah, just with my ink pen. But and then it's like that, you know, and
yeah.
And maybe in 1 week it will be the same state, you know, unless I draw 5 minutes between my shower and my supermarket trip. I don't know, you know, and so. But I really like to work. I mean, I like to have projects to do, and I'm still really excited to do projects, even for commissions and stuff. And you need to keep that excitement, or you will be bored and do boring art, I guess.
Yeah. I think what's hard is if you really like making images, new images, but you also like making comics, there's a tension there, I think. For me, I have a lot of comics that aren't done because I like to make new images. And a lot of comic drawing is the same thing, but like slightly different.
Yeah.
New angle, same character, saying something. I think traditional comic artists are more interested in narrative than or probably you are. You know, like they want to tell this very clear story, and comics is the way they do it. But if you're looking for weird images and wacky relationships, and you don't want to sketch and you don't want to like do character design, I think you naturally end up with like surreal, avant-garde indie comics as your end result, which are more about looking good than being fun to read, I think, in some ways.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing, but it's what I prefer. I don't even know what I prefer reading anymore. I don't really read that many comic books actually anymore.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard to find exciting stuff to read for me now. But weirdly, I found pleasure in reading like the vintage books I told you.
Yeah.
Like I discover really, really great stuff, and the stories. It's really at the center of it, but at the same time, the drawings it's so inventive and so fresh. But I see what you said. Like I really like to draw, and I think it's really the pleasure of drawing who drives the pages of comics I do.
Yeah.
So when you said like repeating the same picture with the same character, you know, like sequential stuff, it's really annoyed me to repeat the same face and like to. So yeah, I got what you said. Like that's why maybe my stories go in really crazy way, and like even the characters, they change face, and I like to invent a new shape every time, every frame.
Yeah, exactly. It's about, for me, I don't read comics if they don't look good. So it's probably my primary goal.
Yeah.
Do you color them all digitally, but ink them naturally?
Yeah. And I tried also like alcohol marker. We call that you know, like this, like pro marker.
Yeah.
So it was a pleasure to discover that also, like to see the color in real, like a kid, you know, when you put it directly on the page.
Yeah. So, but most of them are digital, right?
Yeah, because I always think about the final way to show my comics, and it's printed. So all the step before it's completely printed, for me, it's not really final, you know? Like I don't really care about originals, like my page, or I don't care to have a beautiful original to put in a gallery and people check it and it says there is already the colors on it and stuff. For me, it's just preparation for the print in the comics, you know.
Have you tried drawing on a computer?
Yes, but it's really different and less good, I think. I mean, for myself, and my line become too smooth and too.
There's no texture.
Yeah.
No, I think
I like when my pen, when I fight a bit with my pen on the paper, because it forced me to put energy on the line, and it goes in some ways I didn't predict, you know.
Right.
But I bought an iPad 2 months ago, and with this Apple Pencil stuff. But so I was really excited. I was like, yeah, I can work in New York when I go in trip, in the plane, everywhere, in my bed. But but finally, I couldn't do any comics, and but the thing I had fun with, it was like doing some really like disgusting paintings, you know?
Yeah.
Digital paintings, because there is really a pleasure in, like I said before, like I'm really lazy to do a real painting because I need to prepare my material and stuff. And there I can do like really stupid stuff quickly, you know?
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean. Stuff that looks digital.
Like disgusting.
Oh. Yeah, it can be fun for different reasons, but I think it's cool that you still draw, you know, the actual pages exist. That's good.
It's important for me.
Especially
and then I keep this kind of stuff.
Oh, that's good.
There's all my pages.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, in the age of AI art, I think people are going to have to prove that they actually made the comic at some point, because there's going to be some controversy where some artist somebody realized like, oh, this comic that someone's saying they drew is just entirely generated. And then, but having real pages is like, it makes me want to stop drawing digitally and just go back to like coloring.
Because you draw digitally, yeah.
I do both. More and more, I'm going back to just drawing on. I like drawing on shitty material, like Post-it notes. I don't know why. If at the moment I have nice material,
you freak
out. I've just been drawing these. Like I'll make a comic out of these eventually.
Nice. Yeah.
I make like every day. I'll wake up and just draw that. You know.
Yeah.
And then chop it up digital. But I had a phase where I was drawing on the iPad because I was kind of fascinated by it. Mostly because I could draw with my finger and then create. So like I like using it for stuff I can't do in real life, but the AI art's got me rethinking. Like coloring is how I started to move my comics to digital. And then it was like a gateway drug. So like you said, the ultimate thing in a comic is what it ends up being printed wise. But I miss having full books of actual pages.
Yeah.
Like when I die, you know, when I die, I want people to find that. You know,
I mean, books, it's such a fascinating stuff. Books, it's sometimes when I think about it, it's crazy because it's like a brick. Or like it's like a rectangle which is closed, so it's kind of protected from the light and dust and stuff, and like you can keep it during thousands of years, and I mean, and it doesn't use any energy. It's kind of weird, a medium. Like I was thinking about it, like. How comics were the cinema of the poor, you know, and it's like, imagine there is I don't know, the end of the world, and there is no more energy, no more anything, electricity, and like there is no more movies, no more lights, and you have just comics, you know, that you can read indefinitely. Without just a candle. So this kind of still excites me, like as a medium, comics. I think it's medium that can survive and goes in still in so many different ways. And I really believe in this medium. And at the end, when you have your books, it's you feel so good to put your books out, and it's kind of a relief. You can move on and do another one, and
it's a beautiful medium.
Yeah,
it's in some ways it's perfect, and it's the most challenging in terms of like having to consider all its potential. I think the people who really do the whole thing, like they're considering so much: sound, narrative, composition, like I don't make comics for emotional reasons. I don't evoke emotion, but I respect people who tried to do everything that it could offer.
Yeah.
Even though I don't want to read that, honestly. I think that's amazing. And I didn't realize comics could do a lot of things till I was like 20, I think. I saw like a Yuichi Okayama book, and I don't even read his work anymore. Just don't. I don't know why, but that changed.
It's a shock. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like so violent and fast, but nothing was happening. Something about that was interesting to me.
Yeah.
And more like poetry.
Yeah. Yeah, like the goal is not that is the thing which is interesting. It's just like the movement and just an action. How you can see an action or just a scene, and all the dynamics. And when you read this kind of books, you want to do the same stuff, like it's
yeah.
I mean, your body, your hand want to do the same stuff, so you try, and I mean, after a day or two it fades away a bit, but when you just read this, like the next hours, you cannot continue to do your own stuff.
What's the longest comic you've made?
I mean, I made comics for Casterman. It was with a sociologue. It was about serious subjects, and so I had to do a storyboard, the full storyboard, and it was 160 pages.
Nice.
And so it was kind of hard for me to do a storyboard first. And I had to do it twice and to do it again, to change stuff on it, because there are some parts which didn't work so well. So when I finished all these storyboards, I was like, oh shit, now I have to draw everything, And it was really, reassuring, because I knew how many pages I needed to do. I knew what I needed to draw. But at the same time, it was so boring to draw, because I drew everything already, in sketches. And I just needed to put the flesh on the bone. So it was, I completed it, and it's the longest story I made. But at the same time, I don't find the same energy in this book that I can do in my own world and works.
What's the name of that book?
It's called Turbulence. It's about the turbulence in planes when you are on a flight. And the other one is called Au Tribunal des Couples. It's about the couple who goes to see a judge and an advocate, when they divorce and they get divorced and stuff. And
I see the drawings.
There is a lot of sexism and stuff. So it was kind of heavy, but I put jokes and.
So these were commissions.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
I see that the style is a little different.
Yeah, I needed to draw kind of fast because there are so many pages to do. So, I mean, visually it's not that interesting.
And in your personal work, what's the longest you've done?
And my personal work, now I'm doing a book. The book I told you that I did 60 pages and I need to finish. Because I got the money from the government.
Oh, yeah.
I try to find it. And it's called Niveau Zero. And so it's a long story. And so there is all these pages inside. And but the more I see it, the more I see old pages I need to redraw,
Yeah, it's endless.
There is some really shitty frame.
I just I don't go back. I just accept the linear progression.
Yeah, I need
the
to
drawing.
accept. Yeah.
And just get it out and then make the next one better.
Yeah.
That's good though.
Yeah,
80's,
right.
80's good.
71 page now.
Nah, it's not too far.
This is the last frame of the last page, and then there is like 72, and you see it's not finished.
Nice.
And there is a thing I do. I put the date under each pages.
Yeah.
I finish it. So the last page, it was Saturday, 20 August 2002.
Oh.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's difficult. I only ask, I think, because I think it's tempting to draw one-page comics sometimes because they're fun.
Yeah, it's
But
easier.
at the same time, I haven't quite succeeded yet, but my goal is every time I make a new big work that I have to try to double the pages. But that might take me a decade for the next one, you know? Just as like a way to punish myself.
You double each time.
That's the dream. That's the dream. Because I think it's too easy to. Well, it depends how you draw the comics, but I know for me, I can get. I don't know. I just want to see how much punishment I can take, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like structurally. It's an interesting exercise. It's more just exercise than anything. It's just like regular, trying to keep it regular.
You mean with the length of it?
Yeah,
of the story, or
just the focus. You know, because if you think about when you're dead, it's much more interesting if you made big focus things than like you had one drawing on social media every day. That's what I used to do on Tumblr. Is like I tried to do one drawing a day.
Yeah.
So I have like a pile of drawings, but
you mean when we are dead?
Yeah, like, I'm thinking. Yeah, like I think about
you
people
look back and there is only like small post on Instagram every day.
Yeah, it's so crazy to me that I don't know which artist this is, but there are people who just like dedicate themselves, even in the independent comics world, to like one world, one story, and they just I don't know how they do that, but they just live in that world.
Yeah.
I admire that ability to just hunker down and do that thing.
Yeah.
It's just, there's nothing cooler than a big fat book. You know?
Yeah, but what you can do, it's do a lot of short stuff and put it at the end in a big fat book, you know?
That's true. That counts. I'm saying that counts.
Yeah. That's what I did with Delirium. It's only one page. No, sometimes there is longer, but it's really short stories and put together in a book. So,
is that your favorite work that you made?
Yeah, I think it's I think it's maybe the most solid book I made, like the most complete book I made. Have you seen it? Or
I don't think I have seen images of it, but I don't own it. I kind of stopped buying books like for the last year because I have too many.
You need to buy one more book.
Did you printed that?
Yeah. So the cover is screen printed, and
nice.
And inside it's screen print.
How did you print it?
With a printer.
Is it risograph or?
Inside it's risograph, yeah. We printed it during 2 months. And so this is only short stories. And there is also black and white. But this is, the stories, I did it specially for the book, so it's kind of different. I forced myself to do 1 page a day during the summer of 2017.
Wow. Yeah, that's what you want to do. So you did that pretty quick.
Yeah, this one I did it like maybe in 4 months total with the coloring.
That's very good.
So it was cool. Yeah, I got at that time I got a really good schedule but I worked a lot but it was great because I knew I needed to make a book, so it was a goal. It was really clear.
Do you have to do? You don't work outside of like you just draw for money, right?
Yeah, I used to work like in restaurants, like cleaning dishes or like serving people. As a cook, as a waiter.
Yeah. When's the last time you had to do that?
It was maybe 5 years ago now, something like that.
So
Yeah,
have you
continue and-
succeeded? Do you
My
feel that
girlfriend, she told me you need to stop doing this because you need to focus on your comics and like advance your work and just do that. And she was right, because I was like 1 foot in the two stuff, so not focusing on my work completely, and at the same time not believing I could live with my work totally, So yeah, but yeah, when you have the rent to pay, it's it's hard to just focus on comics and stuff. And if you are too stressed about the money, you cannot work also, because you are too stressed to draw, and you feel guilty all the time you don't draw.
Exactly.
All the time you play Switch or watch YouTube, you're like, oh my god, I spent 1 hour, I could make a page, etc., etc. Yeah.
So do you feel that you've succeeded in a way?
I don't know. I don't like the idea of success and stuff, but I feel lucky, to right now to do commission work and to do my own work also at the same time.
What don't you like about success? What don't you like about that?
Because it's quite fake in a way, like people, there is like success people, but at the same time you don't know if you want to have this kind of success, and what does it mean,
Yeah, because, for me, it's like if you want to make a 80-page comic and you do.
Yeah, this is a success, yeah.
Yeah, or if you want to spend more time drawing.
Yeah.
That's pretty like it's kind of course there's social metrics of success, but I mostly mean personally. I think because if you think about it, there's a lot of people who draw and they're probably not good. A lot of people are bad at drawing who would wish that they could be in that position. Especially because you draw essentially what you want. And this is quite rare, I think.
Yeah. But
how could it be better in a sense?
What can be better? It's I can have it can be better.
Do you think?
No, sure, I mean, sure. I wish I had a little more money, just not to worry about stupid stuff. But
sure.
I mean, it's the same for everyone, almost everyone, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think it's the most important thing. It's to like don't stress about the month and to do the thing you want to do, and don't force yourself to do a certain style or to do a certain comics or to do a certain art. It's because you can be attracted to. You can see a work, someone who make a work which really succeed on Instagram, a lot of likes and stuff. So you want to follow this kind of style, but it's vain because it doesn't mean anything. And what is important is do your stuff and do books. And I know it's hard, but people need to spread their work on internet. It's people can feel the generosity also, because there is people who don't want to put so many stuff online and they want to keep it for themselves.
Yeah. Very private.
To put it online.
Yeah. I understand both. They think it's like a sacred act between them and something else. They don't want to taint it, but sharing it is more important. At the same
time, they are envious and they are like, why people don't like my work, show your work if you want people to like it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have you have a cat, I see.
Yeah. She was walking around. I have two. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And you don't live in France, right?
No, we live in Belgium now, in Brussels.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's been 8 years now, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there a comic scene there?
No. There is always a comic scene, but
where you are?
I don't know.
You are the scene?
No. But yeah, I don't know. I don't feel so much a big comic scene. I mean, there is a lot of heritage of Belgium comics.
Yeah.
But I don't feel so much new energy in the comic scene in Belgium.
Right.
Of course, I don't know everything, but yeah.
Yeah, this is Ego. He's an amazing. He goes in and out of the house at his at his own will.
Cool.
So
he gets a small flip-flap door. No?
He does.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any jokes that you can tell me?
Any jokes? My God.
I often ask people for jokes in the end.
I need to find a joke in English. So
you could tell it in French.
Twice harder.
I don't know. Yeah, you could say it in French.
Do you know Tintin?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the difference between Tintin and Milou? It's his dog.
Oh, the dog, the little white.
Yeah.
Right there.
What is the difference?
I don't know, but I like that you have a Tintin joke. Go ahead.
Milou doesn't have a dog.
Wow. That's a strange joke.
Yeah, it's really bad. I used
to. Did you invent that?
No, I don't think so.
You don't even know.
Maybe I don't remember. No,
I like it.
It's not that funny. But I like it. It's simple and absurd and yeah.
Yeah, I like how hard it makes the other person think, and then there's really nothing there.
Yeah.
It's like a thud, yeah.
Like a what?
A thud.
What is a thud?
Thud is, I guess, a sound that you would probably see in comic books, where it's just like nothing.
Like the party is over, like
yeah.
Like a fly.
Just empty, but somehow making a sound. It's
weight like that. Yeah.
Yes, an empty weight. It's an interesting idea.
And what is the comics you read? I mean,
that I read?
Yeah, like what's the comics you like? I know it's hard. It's yeah.
I mean, I'm just trying to think about what I read now. You know, I don't really read many comics, but there is this French artist from like 1910, Lucien Laforge, that I really like. He made kids books that were just insane.
Lucien Laforge.
Yeah, like probably my favorite artist to look at in the last year.
Okay.
There's something really beautiful about. He made this 1001 like Arabian Nights book that is so interesting. There's these borders that he uses that are really interesting.
The colors are great.
But yeah, it's interesting. Comic wise, it's been a while. Probably the last things I've probably read are just like Mobius, like the Incal
Oh,
or
yeah.
something. I do like him. I don't, because I like Jodorowsky as well. So for me, that book is a very interesting mix. But I
And
tend
Jodorowsky made a comics books.
he,
Have you read it?
his own comic book.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's like very
it's
kind of
crazy.
hip,
Huh? Yeah.
weird collage hippie kind of vibe. Yeah, he's a fascinating person. But it's got me thinking. Yeah, I mean, there's this like Tenkuro that they re-released this old Japanese. Again, it's like a kid's story. It has that
Yeah.
old printing that looks like risograph.
Yeah.
But I really am out of touch with what's going on now. And like you said, there's a kind of beauty and enjoyment to that. But I'm looking for something at the moment. I'm interested in something grittier. I'm never too interested in narrative because I think film is typically better than comics at that. So I'm always thinking about what can comics do that other things can't. Primarily,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I want to make comics where the reader uses his brain to feel also the things I don't show,
Exactly.
Like, yeah, use his brain to create the part I don't tell and the part I don't show.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, with movies, the pictures are moving, so like I guess your brain don't work that much as comics. I don't know. There is really an amazing thing that I think about comics. It's like you can show a guy with the arm up, and after you show him with the arm down, or just with a bunch of stars and someone knocked out, and like your brain will understand his arm went down and punched the guy.
Yeah.
And it was not shown. And why we understand that, like how can our brain create the images which doesn't exist,
Yeah, I would agree. That's the main thing that makes comics special is the space between panels.
Yeah.
It's a very, very weird. Like there's a lot of Japanese avant-garde stuff that's just completely nonsensical. It's just like this random thing next to, and yet the brain is really, really, really trying to make some kind of sense.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's why, like, there's certain comics that just feel like storyboards for like a cartoon or a movie. To me, that's barely a comic book because it's just trying to be something else.
Yeah.
And I don't even like cinematic. Yeah, I don't really love cinematic angles in comics.
You mean like comics who want to be too much like movies, or like?
Yeah. I don't get it. I mean, I get that making a film is like millions of dollars and all that, but from like that's a weird reason to make something to me is money or not make something. So like that's not a consideration that has to do with the aesthetic nature of a medium. It's more just like it's inconvenient. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But at the same time, it's in a way exciting to think like, I don't have money to do my sci-fi movie, so I will do comics alone in my room with just pens and papers. But yeah, I mean, if it's not the goal you wanted, it's sad in a way. Yeah, like you must do the things the way you want. It's made.
Yeah, like I think about even Nausicaa by Miyazaki, which is the only real comic he made. It's like a big ass book. I don't know if you've read that, but
yeah,
I believe he was drawing that before the film, like when he was working on non-Studio Ghibli films. It's obviously an amazing book, and it diverges from the animation. But I feel like initially it's more about kind of like being a storyboard for that thing he eventually makes.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. I just think there's so many ways to make art now that it's interesting to keep trying to remember why a comic book is worth making.
Mm.
Because you could just make it's easier to make a film than ever, you know? Sometimes I think I feel like I like drawing. There's days where I try to sit down and make a comic, and then I'm like, I just want to make a splash page, like a big drawing, which is not a comic. It's not a comic book.
Yeah.
Just an urge to draw something. So I don't know. Sometimes I feel I'm not convinced in any way that I'm a cartoonist. I just happen to sometimes make comics.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you are primarily a cartoonist?
Yeah. I consider myself. I don't know. Yeah. As a cartoonist, cool. I guess, because that's really the thing I like to do the most. But I guess I just like to draw, so I'm just a drawer, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, with the comics, I really like to tell stories also, you know, with my comics, and even if it's a short story, you know, like an absurd discussion or like just a situation. So I really like to develop situations, and I think if you make it as a video, it doesn't touch people the same way, because it will be definitive in a way. It will be filmed in a specific place with specific pictures, with specific actors. But instead, the comics, the character can be kind of undefined, so people project themselves inside, you know, and it can touch them more deeply than if it's two actors in a situation like a sketch, you know.
Yeah.
You cannot touch in the same way, I think.
What is a comic that you would strongly recommend someone read to show the power of comics?
I really like 8 Ball, the 8 Ball series from Daniel Klaus, specifically all the short stories.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you read it.
No, but I like his work. I really like his work visually at times, but I've never really gone into that whole world.
Yeah, because 8 Ball was really important to me, because it's only short stories, and as a person who do primarily only short stories and couldn't do long stories, it was interesting for me to see someone who develops short stories in a pamphlet style of zine, you know, like it was a comics. It was like, I don't know, 40 pages, maybe, quite thin. And so after, when they make books, they put all the short stories inside one book. So I really like this, because you have a lot of different tone to the stories. Sometimes it's just stupid fictional stuff. Sometimes it's Daniel Klaus talking about Chicago. Sometimes it's etc. etc. So I really like all the different mood of the stories, but put together in a book. I don't know. I really like also the Tintin, of course. The Tintin books.
Yeah, they're all very good. The color, for me.
Yeah, it's crazy, like how he really masters the narration and the movement and the style. The style is really like never become old. Like it's it's kind of crazy. Like
do you like Asterix and Obelix?
No, I don't like it. I never liked Asterix and Obelix. And,
what about DuckTales?
DuckTales, it's Donald Duck?
Yeah, whenever I'm in Europe and I'm trying to buy old comics, I encounter too much DuckTales and too much Asterix.
Yeah.
I'm always like, what?
I really like Karl Barks comics, Donald Duck especially. And when I was young, I really loved Don Rosa, The Youth of Scrooge.
Mm-mm.
You read it? No,
No, I've never read it, but I know the work.
It's so nice. It's really nice. Because
So you like I think I understand why, but you still enjoy reading kind of books that were meant for younger audiences.
yeah. For me, there is no importance in the public, in the audience, you know.
Yeah.
A book is good or a book is not good, you know, and it doesn't depend on if it's for kids or for adults. That's why there is so many bad book for kids, because it's like the authors, they think too much. It's for kids, you know.
Exactly.
And at the same time, they try to seduce the parents, so they will do in a style that the parents will like. But sometimes kids, they don't like the style parent likes, you know.
Do you think you'll ever make a
I want to
kids book?
Yeah, I want to make kids book, but at the same time, I want to make books for everyone. So, I mean, I don't want to narrow it for kids. So globally, I think in my work, I try to make a work which can be read by everyone. And sometimes there is some vulgar stuff, but quite rarely, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because I like the fact that kids can find my comics and like read it, and can be nice for them. Also, you know, not traumatize them.
Yeah. Yeah, I relate to that more and more.
Because when I was a kid, I used to really like weird stuff, weird books, like Heir book. You know Heir? MC Heir?
Yeah, he was my favorite artist when I was young.
Yeah.
I wanted to be. I remember when I was little, I had to write what I wanted to be, you know, and I said I wanted to be like MC Escher.
Yeah.
Not sure what that means specifically, but I think I really like black and white and kind of morphy, designy drawings. Crazy work. I don't feel like anyone is even remotely similar to him. And in that period, or even to this day, it's such an interesting mix of almost like science, math brain and art. The tessellations are crazy.
Yeah.
That's interesting that you were very drawn to that.
Yeah, but I was really young, like 5 or 6, but I really, it was a book from my dad on the shelf, and all the pages always fell apart because the glue was bad. But I really like the scary part of the pictures. Like, it was really gloomy, like really weird. Like just you can see just a fish on a pond, you know, just under some dead leaf on the surface of the water.
Yeah,
it really freaks me out, but I couldn't stop to watch this picture again and again, you know, like
that is a weird image
to understand.
That image is so seemingly ordinary, but it's very odd.
Yeah,
it looks like a bad like postcard or like gift store card, you know, birthday card.
Yeah,
it's very, very weird.
Yeah,
I wish I knew him. He seems just so strange. The fluctuation between like hyper realism and pattern, it's just, he's hard to talk about. He's so He's
Yeah.
huge. He's huge. It's like,
And you can feel I just imagine, but I could feel he just had really pleasure to make pictures and to have fun making weird pictures with system, inside, like optic system. With, it's kind of fun, his work in a way.
yeah, you would never pretend to want to make that work. It's so grueling, I imagine, in some ways.
Yeah.
Just like the rigidity required to make his work.
Yeah.
It's funny you mention him. I'm looking at the work and I'm just like, wow,
Yeah.
he's so good.
And you will like Josso. I don't know if you know Josso.
How do you spell that?
Jossot.
Gustav.
Gustave Henri Josso. His work is amazing also.
Yes, this feels similar to that Lucien Laforge work. It must be similar time, like World War One-ish.
It's he's born in 1866. Yeah, but his work is really kind of violent, but really good. Like
yeah, beautiful. They must. I have a book of French World War One work, and I feel like he's in there with Lucien Laforge.
Genius.
Yeah, there's like this clarity that we probably both look for in work.
Yeah.
It's like a hard line thing. I'm incapable of making like soft, beautiful work. I don't really know how to.
And his drawings are also are still today. It's like no one did such strong images, so violent, but so true about like institutions or governments or the army or stuff. I mean, it's really actual. The picture he did.
Yeah, I'll have to look deeper into his work.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you go to bed now. I know it's late.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope it's not too, I don't know, it goes in too much direction, or I hope you learn some stuff.
I did.
About my work.
That's the nature of the podcast.
Yeah.
I appreciate you taking the time out. And it was good to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too, yeah. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, man. All right. Good night.
Yeah, good night. See you.
Bye. As always, music by Dori Vivarsky and Mingja Chen. Have a great week.
Baptiste.